What if art could capture a fleeting moment? What if it could encapsulate the essence of a scene, not through meticulous detail, but through the impression that it left on the viewer? This was the radical idea that drove the Impressionists, making them the most influential art movement of the modern era. Welcome to Art for Life. In this comprehensive look into what I think is the most beautiful and accessible art style, we will answer these questions and many more. We will dive into the history of Impressionism and give you a step-by-step guidance into how you can create your very own satisfying painting in the style of Impressionism. I really think you're going to like this. A rebellion in color, questioning the norms. The late 19th century was a great time of change and upheaval in the art world. Traditional methods and styles were being challenged, and a new wave of artists was emerging, ready to break free from the constraints of the past. What did art look like at the turn of the 19th century? Astonishingly, three different art movements fought each other for primacy and dominance. First on the scene, the neoclassical movement, looking backwards with great affinity to the classical period of Greek and Roman art, with their idealized muscular bodies, staged poses, sharp outlines, reserved emotions, and meticulous geometric compositions. Battling against them, Romanticism depicted heroic moments of the past. Focusing on ideals like liberty and justice, these painters stressed drama and depicted passionate scenes full of energetic brushstrokes and rich colors. Not to be outdone, the realist movement aimed away from such classical, historical, or religious scenes. Instead, they focused on the everyday and ordinary scenery and actions of people. They believed that art needed to be relevant to the masses instead of royalties and aristocracy only. As important as these three art styles were, they could not hold a stick to the one that would overshadow them all: the Impressionists. Breaking free, the dawn of Impressionism. Imagine Paris in the late 19th century, a city buzzing with intellectual and artistic ferment. A group of young artists, including Claude Monet, Pierre-Auguste Renoir, Edgar Degas, and Camille Pissarro, sought to capture the fleeting beauty of modern life. Instead of formal studios, they ventured out into the world, settling up their easels in cafes, gardens, and bustling streets. Short, rapid strokes of pure, unmixed color became their hallmark, capturing the vibrancy of the world around. This revolutionary style, initially met with skepticism and ridicule, would soon captivate the world. What if color could convey emotion as powerfully as words? The Impressionists believed that the vibrancy and texture of their brushstrokes could evoke feelings and moods in a way that traditional art could not. They used color to express the beauty and complexity of the world around them. These questions ignited a revolution on canvas. This movement was not just about a new technique. It was a new way of seeing the world. It was about capturing the transient, the fleeting, and the ephemeral. Imagine the world where art was confined to stuffy saloons dictated by rigid rules and somber palettes. This was the reality for many artists before the advent of Impressionism. Art was expected to adhere to strict standards, and deviation was often met with criticism and rejection. Yet this group of radical painters dared to challenge the status quo, seeking to capture the fleeting beauty of the world around them. They left the dark studio and ventured outside, painting in plein air, to observe and depict the natural world and all its changing light and color. Their rebellion? To paint with a new vision, embracing the interplay of light and shadow and the ephemeral nature of a passing glance. Finding inspiration, nature's canvas. The world around us is a living, breathing masterpiece, constantly changing and evolving. Nature, with its endless varieties of forms, colors, and textures, has always been a profound source of inspiration for artists throughout history. For the Impressionists, however, nature was more than just a subject to paint. It was a boundless source of inspiration. They sought to capture the essence of the natural world, the way light danced on the water, the subtle shift in color as the sun moved across the sky, and the fleeting moments that could never be replicated. Monet, captivated by nature's ever-shifting moods, built his famous water garden at Giverny to study the interplay of light, water, and reflections. He spent countless hours there observing the way the light changed throughout the day, painting the same scene over and over to capture its many facets. Whether it's the delicate petals of a flower, the shimmering surface of a pond, or the golden light of a sunset, nature's beauty is all around us, waiting to be discovered and celebrated. Just look at the treatment of the same subject during different times of the day. When you view these paintings in their totality, it becomes clear that Monet was not actually painting subjects. He was interested in light. Here are but a few renditions of the Houses of Parliament. Each painting is so different, yet full of light and atmosphere. If you have made it this far into the video, I want to thank you. If you want to succeed in making an Impressionist painting, you must understand what drove these artists and why their paintings look the way they do. Next up is what you have been waiting for. Are you ready to unleash your inner Impressionist? Here is a step-by-step guide to get you started. Step 1. Gather your supplies. You'll need a portable easel, a selection of acrylic or oil paints, brushes, a palette knife, canvas, a container for water, and some paper towels or rags. Step 2. Find your inspiration. Head outdoors and find a spot that inspires you. For my painting, I found a beautiful spot here at Valley Forge in Pennsylvania, a place full of history, and on this beautiful fall day, the subject for my plein air painting. Step 3. Begin by making a light sketch, just to get the placement of things. You'll have to isolate your favorite section of the landscape, since you can't fit all of it. Step 4. Experiment with mixing colors, and quickly fill your canvas with a wide range of hues. Step 5, and this is an important point. Capture the light and the color that light reflects back at that moment. Pay close attention to how light falls on the landscape. Cool colors in the shadows and warm tones in the highlights is the Impressionist way. I tell you, you cannot use enough blue color for an Impressionist style painting. Notice how the distant hills and even trees look lighter and bluer thanks to the atmospheric perspective. Not only so, but blue can be even found in the shadows of everything. This may be difficult for a beginner to discern because the color of things hides it, so isolating blue on top of the natural color can be challenging. With practice though, you can learn to see it. Reflect back to when the landscape is covered in snow. Now that everything is white, it is much easier to see shadows filled with color blue and highlights that gleam in the golden sunlight. So learn to not paint what is in your mind, but paint what your eyes perceive in that split moment in front of the subject. You see, we all have images in our minds of what trees look like, and we might be tempted to paint them brown and bright grassy green color for their leaves. But in reality, these colors are constantly shifting and changing. To make this point clear, let's take a look at a couple of forest images shot at different times of the day. Notice how the color of tree trunks and even leaves changes due to the effects of light and atmosphere. Step 6. Embrace the brushstroke. Use short, choppy brushstroke to apply paint on your canvas. Don't overmix or blend colors together. Rather, paint daubs of color, dots, dashes, side by side without mixing them, letting your eyes do the blending when viewed from a distance. This is called optical blending. Up close, an Impressionist painting looks fuzzy, sloppy even, with pure patches of color side by side. But from afar, this mosaic quilt of colors comes together to form a sharper image. Step 7. Complete the entire painting in one sitting or session. This is called alla prima, Italian for at first attempt. If you're not able to, you can always finish it back at home and keep developing the details. This is what I did for my painting as well. One more point to address. On site, the bright sunlight was skewing my color sensitivities. When I came indoors, my initial alla prima painting looked much darker. This is a normal experience for outdoor painters, so they need to adjust their colors on site in order to compensate for this brightness factor. After a couple more coats of color and further development, the painting came into its proper light. Step 8. Once you're happy with your painting, sign it and proudly share it with the world. You've just created a work of art that captures the essence of Impressionism. So go forth, embrace the spirit of Impressionism, and let your creativity bloom. Impressionism today, a lasting legacy. Over a century after its emergence, Impressionism remains one of the most beloved and influential art movements in history. Museums around the world proudly display Impressionist masterpieces, drawing crowds eager to experience the vibrancy and immediacy of these timeless works. The Impressionists' innovative use of color and light continue to inspire today. Their legacy extends beyond the art revolution, and their spirit inspire creativity and innovation in all fields. This movement transformed the art world forever. It opened the door for new possibilities and inspired future generations of artists to explore and innovate. The legacy of the Impressionists lives on, reminding us to see the power of questioning and daring to see the world with a new perspective.